and welcome to the NXT review. We are the Dadley Boyz of WhatCulture. I'm Adam Wilborn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of NXT. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts, where we not only review the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Oh, little something now, Ralph. I don't know, like AEW, Dynamite. Collision. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete. A bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick's review last night's episode of NXT, which, of course, was week one of the Great American Bash.
And God bless the United States.
Sure was.
It's not an endorsement. It never is.
No.
Well, there's a reason I don't call it good American Bash, isn't it? Jesus Christ, what an episode this was.
Ah, really?
A return to form
Yeah.
for NXT for me, this.
Never left for me, but I agree.
yeah.
It was spectacular.
Tremendous stuff, and hyped out the ass a week too. Just terrific.
I'm interested in why you liked this one more than the last couple of weeks where you've gone off it somewhat.
Yeah, I had gone off it a bit. I'm back.
What's going on? Is it just the intro?
And the intro was good. The aesthetics were lush. I would say the aesthetics of the entire place being decked out in red, white, and blue, the red, white, and blue ropes, the little old Lex Express type drapes they had across the barricade. I would say they were marginally better than that time they just found an old banner in the warehouse, slapped an NXT logo on and hung it in the dim. Was it the empty Full Sail, or was it had moved to the?
No, I think it was still. I think it was still either the empty Full Sail or just still the empty Performance Center.
Pathetic.
It was empty. It was right. Oh God, they're doing Fighter Fest AEW. Oh, it's a 2-week event. All right, okay. Well, that's funny. We had a 2-week event planned as well, just to piss all over Cody Rhodes, who was going to be our champion in 3 years. We're going to call it the Great American Bash. And Cody, if you remember, brought out a T-shirt with the original font and all the rest of it. And thought, right, okay, well, we need to convince them it was a plan all along. Get some, stuff made. Or nowhere's open.
Yeah.
Right. You know what is open? Our warehouse. Go and get the 2004 flag right now and get that logo on. Thank you very much.
The Great American Bash logo shop was shut.
Yeah.
This has never happened before.
We've got this big NXT sticker. Oh, thank God. We're fine.
All we've got left is this giant crate of the most beautiful tomatoes you've ever seen in your life that are supposed to be splatting on Randy Orton's chest.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Thanks.
Anyway, this year's Great American Bash opened brilliantly because it's a high bar hosting these sorts of events. We talked about how great Metaphor were at Stand and Deliver. And, Hank and Tank took on that mantle. They're trying to break in for some reason at the start of the Bash because they want to secure their spots as hosts. I think they could have just asked.
Well, often you'll find that you either get the hosting spot or indeed a spot on the show simply by having a chat about the matches. You might be a barbecue around a pool. It's often a pool, even at the winter theme shows. You're around the pool and you just, what's come up in conversation? Only the bloody main event of the show.
Only
the cameras have turned up.
Only the entire card.
Why did Hank Tank just think about that?
Well, it was a crossover of two of my favourite things, NXT and Mission Impossible. They picked locks. They got past keypads. They thought they found the firewall. It was a bloody piece of drywall, wasn't it? Easy mistake to make.
Yeah.
Then they just yanked a wire out and all the alarms go off and there's lasers and they kill the power. But then, don't worry, they get out there, flip the switch. Time for the show to start.
I was desperate for a bit of LTST and then to break one window and it'd be the Retribution window that got broke twice. Like that one pane of glass that you're allowed to kick in.
Weren't they trying to evade the lasers and just got in the way of the lasers and nothing happened?
That's Hank and Tank.
There's Hank and Tank, more from them later.
We know security at the PC to be absolutely terrible, so this is a law.
Hank is
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, Hank is a former security guard. Cum wrestler, as opposed to all of the other cum wrestlers on NXT, like Brooks Jensen.
And we open with a title match.
Good week for him.
It was the women's tag team titles, the Unholy Union, Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn versus the Metaphor, represented by Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. No messing about. Isla and Alba attacked during the intros. They recognize how great Lash Legend is. They attack her. They throw her to the outside, chuck her into the guardrail. They take over, double snap suplex. Lash comes in, takes out Isla with a pump kick. Alba gets knocked to the outside, and Jakara dives through the ropes to take us to break. When we come back, Jakara's in trouble again. Lash gets the hot tag, knocks Isla down, strikes, clotheslines. swings her basically into Alba, who's running at her, then hits a fall-away slam, Uranagi backbreaker, and a choke slam, gets a really good 2 count. Later on, Lash gets Alba on her shoulders, blocks the Poison Rana, brings in Jakara. They hit the wheelbarrow cutter, but Isla just breaks up the cover at the last second. And the finish sees Lash send Isla to the apron. Isla pulls down the ropes, though. Lash goes out to the floor. There's a meteor that looks like it's sucked out there. Alba hits a super kick to Jakara, and they hit their finish on her. 1, 2, 3. No real surprise. The Unholy Union retain.
Yeah, bad match, mostly apart from Lash Legend, who I thought was, again, very good in short bursts. Like, the comebacks were good. The feats of strength, I like in something that was an issue as WWE rolled out the Women's Revolution and rolled out just women's wrestling and parity and all that sort of stuff, which is in NXT, if not on the main roster, was they never really looked like up and down the roster and saw the women as they do the men, which is, well, what style should you have for your size, or what should be your strengths and weaknesses? Everybody's got to be a technical wrestler. Everybody's got to try and have the match of the night sort of thing.
Everyone's got to be Matt Clay.
Everyone's got to be Matt Clay.
There was a Matt Clay problem, definitely. That's not the case anymore. And Lash Legend can't do everything, and they don't force her to.
Yeah.
And she's loads better for it. Jakara Jackson
She stands out as a result.
Yeah, Jakara Jackson.
At very least gets from me for that. Remember the chat show she did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 23-second long chat show.
I miss it so much. It's so good. That was Golden
week.
Days 2.0, wasn't it? That?
Yeah.
It's the easiest shift, wasn't it? She's like, I prepared half a question. We're out of time. Jakara Jackson, not so good, Al. The champions, really, not so good, Al. Still paper champions, I know. Sentimental reasons, it was a nice thing to do, but smart to get the belts probably back on Jade and Bianca on Friday, and this was the win to get them there, I guess. I don't know. But I like watching Lash and R.
We've all had title defences.
I like what came next as well, more than the match, which was...
Aura Mensa, obviously part of the metaphor, comes out to console them. When Ethan Page storms out, he says, metaphor coming up short. Well, you better be there to console Aura next week. He's not going to get any fluke wins, any 1, 2, 3s. It's a little 1, 2, 3 chant. And he says, he gets in the ring and he says, Aura, I'm going to let you have a real close look at this title. Obviously goes to swing with it. Aura ducks, rolls him up, and the metaphor count to 3. Page loses it yet again.
The 1, 2, 3 was annoying before, but I quite liked it this week. It felt like it was a bit more organic.
More established now.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Like, just a bit more organic. Everything gets over in this building to these fans, but it was more organically over as opposed to the begging for it that they were after. And I don't know, there was something nice about the metaphor getting this little moment over Ethan Page, who's been this horror in their lives since he turned up. Like, the both of them getting to do the count. Visually, it was just a nice scene because he's obviously going to retain next week as well. So.
He's very good, Ethan Page, at getting that, like, it's a bit sort of house show crowd, like, and he's like, oh, shut up. He's very good at that.
Butlins.
Yeah.
But there's merit to that on occasion.
Yes,
I think that was the case here.
It's a bit more like it's worked.
Yeah.
Then again, what doesn't? It's a bit more. Ethan Page is now like he's shook. His confidence is shaken by the idea that time and time again he has been pinned 1, 2, 3. You're now shifted away from that farcical idea that it might count. Why would you ever, if you're Ethan Page, entertain the idea that it would count? Moronic. The match itself, let's go. Wait there. We are recording this, right, at 2 UK time. So this show is almost 12 hours old. I was going to say these matches just have a tendency to evaporate by the time I record, whether it is in the afternoon UK time or the morning UK time. These matches, in reality, just evaporate as they happen. Do they not? How do you remember this? I know you got your notes.
That helps a lot.
And try and get in 3 watches this.
These matches, I think I've used this exact way to describe it before, but they just evaporate in front of my eyes as they happen. Like you were talking about Lash Legend and how they do, in fact, mostly accentuate the positives and hide the negatives. Albert Fire and Isla Dawn. What do they do? What style do they wrestle in? What pace? Do they build any struggle? They just do WWE's. They just draw from the moves you're allowed to do in WWE, and they wrestle at the pace that WWE likes you to wrestle.
Yeah, it's...
I just don't get it. I'll never remember any of these matches in a million years.
As an act, and I know you can apply this to a lot of wrestlers sort of scrambling around the dark looking for what works, but especially with the Unholy Union. So they've won tag belts. They're supposed to have a gimmick, which...
Better off with the goo, if anything.
Yeah. It then gets lost when there isn't the goo or the magic or whatever. It reminds me a lot of that John Cena, Becky Lynch thing. I say, who are you? Well, I'm the Irish Lass Kicker. What's that? And she then recognises that and really goes back to the drawing board and, you considers it one of like the many origin stories around the man, basically. I feel that when I watch these two, because the goo was silly. Oh my God, the referee is doing something no human in history has ever done. Roll her up. The goo was stupid, but that's who she is then. That's what Isla Dawn's got going for her. It's just an entrance, isn't it?
And now they just have the same factory settings WWE matches as so many of them do.
Rubbish, awkward tag finisher where like it's a couple of moves stapled together sort of thing. It's not been... I said it from the very beginning. Do the sentimental run, but then spend the rest of the run pretending like it wasn't a sentimental decision. And they haven't.
Yeah.
They've kind of let them down a bit, really.
Cedric Alexander's backstage giving some advice to some trainees when Sean Spears comes up and says... You're not the sort of person you should be giving out advice. Whereas I'm making a difference in Brooks Jensen's life in a whole week. I'll do the same thing for you. But
it's better last week, if anything.
Cedric said...
terrible storytelling.
The streak is over.
It's over.
In 7 days.
Well, we'll get to the... Jesus Christ. I was like, that's his leg broken.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, Cedric, prior to this, says, why would I want to join you? I'm not weak-minded. And I did spot Brooks Jensen in the background going like that. And then he ran over. Saying, I'm not weak. Let's have a bare knuckle fight. Then they set up a match for later. Yeah. Then we go to roving reporters, Hank and Tank. Quick note on the sports jackets.
Unbelievable. USA, USA, USA. Only topped by, in terms of Great American Bash gear, I did like the fight jacket that Thea Hill had, but Tavion Heights.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Olympic jacket, basically.
The business.
Anyway, Tavion talks about this time 4 years ago.
You started to get it, Sid. You're asking at the start, what did you like about it? I'm interested to find out what it is.
Yeah.
It's all the bull I'm putting on.
So Tavion is, he's asked about the match, and he says, 4 years ago I was competing in the Olympics. I think I found it was 3 years ago because of the pandemic, but still. So he's not afraid of big matches, and he's ready to face the shooter that is Tony D. Cold death stare of Tony D.
Just love that. Like people say I don't hold NXT to account, and just watch my review of this promo. Got his Olympic dates.
And that is the one note I'd give to this show to make it better.
Liv. So,
Liv Morgan.
shut up, man.
Hank throws to Tank. He's there with the family. He asks Tony D about the match, and Tony D says, "Oh, listen, Tavion is what we would call a legit guy. Representing your country in the Olympics is big-time stuff. But I don't do it every 4 years. I do it every day. And tonight, Tavion's going to find out I do it in the ring as well."
Yeah, well.
Means business.
Got some big words to back up, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know what he meant, really, but...
Doesn't matter.
Just said stuff. Kills people and said stuff.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best. Yes, I watched that and I was like, I watched it back to make the notes and I was like, well, I don't know. I mean, I sort of get it, but he's a mafia guy, so I'm not going to go argue with him. Then we got a really good vignette about Pete Dunne talking about how this locker room's full of people who can't handle setbacks. The first time he went to someone to get advice, he got stuck with a terrible nickname. Butch, of course, they show footage. He's bitter. Anyone would be bitter. Sheamus went home. Ridge ran away. Tyler's on the shelf. He tells a story about getting jumped by 3 geezers with hammers on a bus and how he handled business, put himself back together. He's young and bitter, basically. And the young ex-bitter thing. Trick is the face of NXT. He's got all the tools. He beat Ilya, beat Mello. He should be able to trust his instincts, but he came to me for answers. And next week, he's going to force Trick to figure it out.
Best thing Pete Dunne's done in absolutely ages. I thought that YXB is rooted in him getting going in wrestling, basically, that young and bitter, and they're letting him have it back. Like, this was said this on the news today.
Not that young anymore.
He's not anymore, no. But he sort of is. He's just been kicking around in this system that long that his TV
he's well below the median age of the men's roster.
His first match at like 13 or something. I was part of this.
But then within WWE, it was going back to, 7-8 years ago now? So he's kind of ancient as a WWE character. So this is he's got 8 years worth of character to then retcon or go back on, as he did here a little bit. I like the him just shooting on the Butch stuff. I liked it for him. I thought it was a good time in his career. He was a dog. But
we said on the news he kind of just survived it really well, basically.
He's good.
yeah. But it makes sense that this Pete Dunne with his own name and identity back would hate it. It's finally something I'm actually into about the Sheamus Fouad on Raw, which is, as we all think, is going to get its proper payoff in Berlin. So now there's actual meat on the bone there for when he goes back to Raw.
He'd like that, being a dog. Meat on a bone.
It's good, that is.
It's not that good. It's really not that good.
No,
it's
it's
not
good.
that good.
So yeah, I was into this, and he sort of sold me on the Trick match, which is a transparent attempt to make Trick Williams a better wrestler. But this is how you get him there.
And keep him busy whilst you have the Ethan Page style defense,
You've got to put him in there with more experienced people. Sidge had him going to the dojo for like years at this point.
Have I said that?
They're never going to do it, but
mentioned it.
I'm sure I mentioned it.
I've been wrestling Pete Dunne guys to try and get him there.
Here's something. This is, better for Pete Dunne because he's just not over. So this might get him over, gives him a little bit of identity. Here's something, though, a bit of a flaw. He said that Sheamus was the first person he really went to seek advice from. Wasn't Trent Seven been 40 for 10 years? He's not getting advice from... It's a bit of a...
Maybe seen him wrestle.
That's unfair. That's the joke.
Trick responds to this by saying, we'll see who figures it out next week. I'm not going to whoop that Trick. I'm going to whoop that ass. Good.
Figured it out.
Figure it out.
Do a gambol and figure it out.
Do what?
Gambol.
What's that?
Time to play a game.
It's time to play the game! Time to play a game! Ha 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 ha!
What's a gambol?
People in the West Midlands will be screaming the answer at you now.
No, they'll be saying it in a low, monotonous drawl. They won't be screaming, will they?
Some of the best people in the world.
I'm sorry. Best people in the world.
Some of them.
No, Geordies. Anything. Gamble. Right, okay. So what did you say? Eat a gambol.
Do a gambol and figure it out.
Do a gambol. So, right, it's not like a regional delicacy.
No. Gambol.
Yeah. Is that one of your guesses or not?
Well, I've got 3, so yeah, it is. Do a gambol. Stupid thing that is to say, in my opinion.
I do agree, by the way. It's a stupid word.
Do a gambol and figure it out. Okay, so what would you do before you figure?
It doesn't really. No.
A head wobble, like
D'Lo Brown.
Good guess.
That's better. Yeah.
No, yeah.
Do a gambol. Do you know what it is? Nick?
Jokes.
I only know because I've just Googled it.
All right. Do a gambol. A funny walk.
Ooh, you're getting closer.
Veering closer, but that's guess number 2. Wrong.
No, I've got 3 guesses now.
I know. You've got one guess left.
No, I've already had 3 guesses. Okay. Funny walk.
Delicacy.
Oh, okay.
And
D'Lo Brown.
yeah.
Do you want to tell him?
It's a forward roll.
It's a gambol. Go do a gambol down a hill.
Roll forward and figure it out.
I wonder if he'll use the gambol in his. Just like gives your head a wobble, doesn't it? Basically,
Just wanted to say Birmingham word.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one. I've missed Birmingham. Tell you what is a must see. Don't miss this. It's the Heritage Cup because it was Tony D versus Tavian Heights next. They've got the family out there, Charlie Dempsey and Miles Bourne. The first round stalemate. Tony got an ankle lock near the end, but the bell sounded before anything could happen there. You can see Ren Sinclair, who's not part of the No Quarter Catch crew yet, cheering on from ringside. Unfortunately, we missed the beginning of the second round during a split-screen commercial break.
Nightmare this. Always happens.
But luckily, just as they come back, big superplex and the end of round 2.
Yeah.
The third round, though, no messing about.
All bets are off here now.
Yeah, all up for grabs. Tavian's fired up, as is Tony D. Tavian rushes in. He almost sold like his back went out doing a suplex, and then D'Angelo capitalized on that by hitting forget about it and getting a 1-2-3 to go 1-0 up. But fourth round, really kicks off because Ren Sinclair realizes she needs to step up at this point. She jumps the barrier, jumps into the ring, screams in Tavian Heights' face, really motivates him, fires him up. And he just charges in, chucks Tony D about, hits a belly-to-belly suplex. It's 1-1 going into round 5. But unfortunately for Tavian Heights, when he's looking for that crucial bit of advice that, the likes of Stax or The Wiz or Luca Cristofino is giving to Tony, having analysed the first 4 rounds, there's an argument amongst the NQCC and potential NQCC members with Miles and Charlie Dempsey and Ren Sinclair arguing. He's like, well, guys, what should my strategy be in round 5? And it's a really important round 5. It could, it's where it's won and lost. So he does well. Press slam, suplex, cover, 2 count. Tony battles back, but then he gets sent into the ropes. Release belly to belly, gets another near fall for Tavian Heights. Tavian comes off the ropes. Tony ducks, though, and Tavian just sort of hangs himself on the middle rope. Tony hits the ropes himself, takes him down, belly to belly, spine buster, another spine buster. 1, 2, 3. Tony D retains, baby.
Low
Great
bar.
match.
Low bar. I think this was the best Heritage Cup match ever.
Oh my God.
Genuinely, the best one of these I have ever seen. I thought Tavian Heights had a fantastic... Tony D made a guy.
Hang on, there's a button for this.
Tony D sold for a guy.
Tony D made a guy.
You're joking. Not another one?
Or the booking did, or whatever.
Maybe just had a great individual performance.
Yeah, Tavian Heights
He looks really good.
excellent here.
Didn't have a great one, but it was good. It was good.
That running belly to belly, that's a finisher. That's great. He's got that there now. I thought, honestly, Tony D did have a really good night. I think he might be getting better, finally. Teeth.
There were times when he did a suplex and went, ooh.
Yeah, he's laying it
nice.
in. He's the high angles and stuff like that. He's getting that stuff to make it look a bit more impactful than it ever did. They actually used the match to create tension rather than boredom. It's taken them long enough to figure that out. Figure it out. So fair play to them. I was into the Ren Sinclair stuff.
Do you think they've done a gam battle?
Yes, they have. Into the Ren Sinclair stuff. As stupid it is that Charlie Dempsey just won't let her in the group. It's that wrestling thing. Well, she's really effective. And she's going to protect your secret murder.
Another person that you're like, oh, go away. You're objectively making things better.
Yeah, let her in. I love this. This was loads of fun, and I bought that. I bought that Tony D might lose the trophy, and more interesting than me, I cared that he might, and I didn't see any of that coming. Good time.
Don't have much more to say, but there were some suplexes in this match where ooh.
A load of big lads in NXT that can do some great stuff.
I almost certainly
see Tavion versus Obafemi.
Oh, yeah. This probably won't encourage me to go and watch any of Tavian Heights N1 matches, but it wouldn't surprise me if at one point somewhere
the real ball knowers start.
A little gift does around on X.
Can I shock you? I really like the N1. It's probably one of my favourites.
Which promotion does it?
Noah. Move on. Was that right? Yeah. Yes! Knew it. Sorry, before we move on.
There was a real good chance he was going to get that wrong. That would have been huge. Huge for the numbers.
Dodge another bullet. Sorry, I was going to nip out.
What?
I just get a phone call. It says maybe Max. So I need to. It could be Max Caster because I'm not sure if I've mentioned this, but we've got.
Why would it? Hang on. Do you have any contacts?
Well, I don't know. Maybe
We'll just come up with a number.
It says might be Max.
So you went it in as maybe
say
Max.
that.
So it was obviously
yeah. Well, it was the lovely bloke who's organising it. He said he was going to put me in contact with him. So maybe
it would just come up with the number.
Well, I don't know. But it's going to run out if I don't answer it soon.
Well,
so
just ring him back.
No, it's American time and stuff. And it's
no, you're in the sweet spot for a few hours.
Dynamite's tonight though. So
no, you're in the sweet spot
for travelling to Dynamite. You never know. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but he's going to the Sweet Chin Disco along with Prince Nana. Which have we mentioned? You talk about that actually. I'm going to go and speak to Max. I'll be back in a second.
WhatCulture.com/tickets, 12 p.m. The Sunday before All In, and then the second after show afterwards.
Sunday of All In. It's
going to be really good. I know I've heard the plug quite enough, but it's going to be good. I'm really looking forward to doing it. Really,
I can't wait. They're the best. I want to shout out Matt Rains, a guy I've always loved, who was very generously offered to buy one person a ticket from a random drawing from Flags because he can't attend, but he went to the one in Philadelphia, and that's his stamp of approval. He wants to buy a ticket for somebody for the live show. So go and follow Matt on Twitter and like that tweet, and you might get a random draw, or go to whatculture.com/tickets where you can also get merchandise to go along with it. It'll be fantastic.
Hey,
Stacks!
Hey, what do you think of the Heritage Cup match?
I kind of love it as a shoot, Stacks. I always did.
Oh, so good. Hey, credit to Tavion Heights. Gave it his best shot. Didn't quite get there, but I like those no quarter cash crew guys. Hey, got a lot of respect for them, huh? Especially when they murder people on national television.
Whoa, you don't know about that. In canon.
Oh, they made me make people disappear. I do apologize. They are a magician. Not the only big sports thing going on at the moment, though. You guys been watching the Olympics?
Really?
I've been watching the Olympics. Like, my kids are really, really into it. And I think, like, because my eldest is particularly, like, he's already acutely aware of the failure of the England national team systemically. And he's had lots of heartbreaks watching them win some swimming or something. Like, he'll buzz off that.
And he's jacked, so he's probably looking
jacked,
at aspirational TV.
Yeah, my son.
I ain't heard about this. You mentioned this before.
Yeah, my son is jacked, so maybe, and he's like, he's a bit of a jockey. Plays on every single sports team that is available to him in his school year. So I think he could be looking at an Olympian.
What if he joins the Next in Line program?
Shut up. My son will not join the Fed ever.
Bring him into the family. Oh, I'd love to meet the guy. I got some jokes to tell him. City, what is the deal with the Olympics? Anyway?
Well, the Olympics, it's an athletic event, and the biggest of its kind, held every 4 years, one of the most historically prestigious sporting tournaments. Then there's all sorts of games, the Olympic Games, all sorts of games are played. You can run, you can swim, you can, do some weird things with horses. If you want, if you're inclined to do that sort of thing. They want to do wrestling as an Olympic sport.
Sign Tony D up.
Yeah,
That'd be almost as big as the Heritage Cup winning the gold medal at the Olympics.
yeah.
Right up there. Me and the missus have Olympic sex once every 4 years. 3 questions, 3 jokes for you. Question joke number 1. What is an Olympic gymnast? Shout out to Simone Biles. What is an Olympic gymnast's favorite condiment? I don't want to put you off there.
Condiments.
I'm not a condiment guy, are you?
No.
Right.
I know them, though. So
Gymnast. Right, so what do gymnasts do? They flip,
yeah, they jump, they dance, swing from things.
do things on a beam.
Yeah.
So what are condiments? Ketchup. Mayonnaise.
Barbecue sauce.
Vinegar.
Hot
Vinegar
sauce.
a condiment?
Yeah, I class it as one because I hate it.
Mustard.
Apparently Americans trying English mustard lose their goddamn minds because it's extremely different to the American mustard I've seen.
So different.
Yeah, they look like they're in real trouble.
I'm more of a... I like a whole grain mustard. Or a Dijon.
Dijon.
Oh la la.
Dijon for men.
Set up against Dax.
What is an Olympic gymnast's favorite condiment?
I don't know.
Is there anything in Simone Biles?
Because
She's the most
Stacks won't
famous
know this,
one.
but Wilborn mentioned her a lot in the office at the moment.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
He's impressed by Simone Biles. I don't
know.
know.
Stacks.
What Olympic gymnast's favorite condiment? Somersault. Somersault.
Damn it,
It's
that's
more of a seasoning.
Question
Is
joke
it
number
not?
2.
I think so. Salt and pepper.
All the goddamn table together. I don't know. Question joke number 2. Hamlet, why is basketball the messiest Olympic sport?
Right. Basketball things.
Dunk.
Dunk. Slam dunk. 3-point.
Alley-oop.
Free throw.
Because they're free throwing things everywhere. No. Oh, I know why. Because they're all dribbling.
Why is basketball the messiest Olympic sport? Because the players dribble all over the court. Bingo! Seen that big French by the way?
Whoa, Stacks.
It's like 7 foot.
Wilborn has to do work.
I'll write it down for him. I'll write it down. You seen him like 7 foot goddamn 4 or something.
No.
He's very tall. You'd want him in
I was
the
going to say,
fair,
WWE going to
he's
sign him up. It sounds good. I'm into it.
Wait, before we get to the final joke, actually, I got a question for you. If you could date an Olympian, what kind of Olympian would you date?
javelin, no other way around a stick.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't need a marathon runner. Don't need my stamina matched. So, javelin probably, if anything.
Yeah. Sprinters. Yeah. What
What about you?
I was going to say sprinter for the opposite of the endurance joke, basically. I was going to be self-effacing.
That's what I meant. It wouldn't be a marathon runner.
Oh, of course, yeah, sorry. Yeah. What about you, Stacks?
For me, it's got to be a weightlifter. The question is, though, why would I want to date a weightlifter?
He's got such a huge cock that has something to do with that.
Anything in clean and jerk?
Is this the joke or just a question?
It's a joke. A joke and a question, of course. All rolled into one. Why would I want to date a weightlifter?
Let's try and get this. Why would he want to date a weightlifter? Something to do the pole. Was that's pole vault? Another Olympian. Yeah. I've got no idea. I don't know.
Why would I want to date a weightlifter? Pretty goddamn close. Because a weightlifter's got a good clean jerk and an incredible snatch. See you later, guys.
Gotta be doing that.
I'm sorry. I like the word snatch. It's funny. It's one of the funnier ones, I think. It is. I don't know what it means, really. But I know it's a vagina, but I don't understand how you get the snatch. Just funny stuff. It's just funny stuff, anyway.
Bye, Stacks.
Oh, bye, Stacks.
You just missed him again
Ah.
on a Wednesday.
Max Caster. It's MJF, of course, my best friend.
Yeah.
So.
Why have you got him in as a maybe then?
I think he's changed his number or something.
That doesn't make sense. You still wouldn't.
How much of your best friend to you if he's changed your number and not telling
It's
you?
like,
No, I think he changed it on my phone to like wind me up last time we were hanging out. He was like, maybe Max, maybe someone else. You never know. He's changed everyone in my contacts is maybe Max now. So.
All right, okay.
He's a bloody prankster, that boy.
Yep.
Sure is.
All right, pranks to me.
Right. Back to NXT, and we get the videos from social media where everyone took it a little bit too far with Jasmine Nix, Fallon Henley, Sol Ruka, Carmen Petrovic. Lola Vice suggested the 6-woman tag. Also, sorry, I forgot to mention one of the women. That would be, of course, JC Jane.
Didn't see the clip of Fallon Henley's AEW appearance as part of these socials.
Must have missed that in their sweep of social media.
And got the biggest numbers. Strange.
Then it was time for Cedric Alexander versus Brooks Jensen. Jensen wasn't messing about at the beginning. Kicked out of a Michinoku driver from Cedric Alexander. Hit a huge flying leg drop off the top rope, but Alexander kicked out at 2.5. Brooks is really angry, so he throws Cedric to the outside, gets him on the commentary table, sets up on the apron, goes to do sort of like I don't know.
It's his third attempt, I think, at the Van Damme discus leg drop.
Yes.
A beautiful move that looks really difficult to execute.
And it is. And
it is.
Evidently is. Evidently is.
Cedric moved and Brooks Jensen absolutely smashed his leg off the edge of the table, the like metal edge bit of the table. I thought he'd broken his leg, basically. But Cedric jumps up, chucks him in, lumbar check, 1, 2, 3.
It's like his body looked like in a disaster movie when like a town windmill gets blown over and you just see the blades just flying off. His arms and legs just sort of spun at him like, whoa, at the table, and he really hurt. Like,
You know what? Had no right to be as funny as it was. There's a scene in James Cameron's sweeping historical romantic drama Titanic of 1997 when someone...
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
Why did you do that, James? Why did you do that, James Cameron?
Bang. Yeah.
Why?
Bit of patter.
I'm fairly certain everyone in the cinema laughed when... it's ridiculous.
Aye. What's this booking?
Well, he's
Well, Sean Spears, obviously, in fiction sucks.
Yeah.
That much is certain.
unless he's really got to fully give himself to Sean Spears.
Well, why? Because he won last week.
Well, maybe I suppose it's a good point. Maybe he should be. He's looking for help in all the wrong places. He's a heel. He's looking at this heel, Sean Spears. If only there was a female heel.
He's got a fiance. So he's got a fiance. You're talking about a 2-year-old storyline.
Still a chance.
Not really.
Just means the storytelling is even longer term, doesn't it?
Another one of those moments after this where it happens sometimes with wrestlers, and it happens sometimes with wrestling fans, where we're reminded just how old we are. Because it's Javon Evans talking about his earliest memories of wrestling.
Yeah.
And he talks about watching WWE.
I had a question in this, by the way. Something confused me.
Oh, okay. His mom's a Cena guy. His dad was a Booker T guy. He was into Jeff Hardy, and he was climbing walls in grade school and leaping onto his friends. He used to tell his teachers to suck it.
Well, I got confused here because I feel like we've talked about this before, but I forgot. Like, he's telling his teachers to suck it, but what? Like his bottle of drink?
No, I don't think it was that.
It's sucking down the water.
Yeah.
No. Suck my cock. Time to suck my cock.
That's what it was.
They revealed it, didn't they? You can't be saying suck it at school. People
I know from experience.
We all did.
Suck it.
He
Suck what, Michael? My gag. That was confusing, but I was talking about my gag.
Go to there, man.
I told you, man. Year 7, right? Like towards the end of term, so it's like I want to say April, May 1998. Suck it every Friday night. Suck it. Dumbass teacher, when the class was acting up, I've got 2 words for you. Suck it.
Get the music. Everybody leaves.
Suck my cock.
You know why the teacher didn't get it? Because it was Mike Tyson.
Class Smith.
Am I doing it, Heartbreak?
Mike Tyson impression. Wrestling brings Javon Evans joy. More on that.
Me too.
Another time.
Me too.
Joe Hendry is talking with some ladies backstage. They all believe in him. And he heads out to the ring. And, the ladies are all left on their own for about 1 second before Shotty the Adonis slides in. I love him. He's already one of my favourite characters in NXT. He's been here like 3 weeks.
Total funny, right?
It's another one of them, like, Chef Sean's been in the kitchen and he's been on X. And it's like 50 couples on this NXT roster. Why don't we have somebody arrive for the pure purpose of just trying to shag as much as possible? Cedric, what are you doing wrestling? What we're here for?
And we all thought he was going to struggle. Honest. Not the case. Fantastic. More from him, hopefully, in the coming weeks. Then we go to the Rascals' Magical Treehouse. And I understood this reference. I'd seen this on social media before. People were very happy that it's made a return. It's That 70s Show gimmick.
I wouldn't be parodying that anymore, but...
Well, yeah. But what did they used to do when they were sat in that circle?
Stoned already.
Yeah, because they were in a basement type place. But that's not a tree house. What's the tree?
Stoned already.
They're surprised that they're in this treehouse on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
They
If I like even like the stoners only have their weed within a 2-hour time frame once per week. Have you heard of Wake and Bake?
Every clock in the PC set to 420.
Trey and Zach want to celebrate them all being back together with a little something, and Wes says definitely not. It's a bit more PG around here. They reference about never losing the NXT tag titles, of course, and winning the main event last week. And they talk about winning the titles to defend them in 2 different companies. Wes is going to speak to Axiom. And they decide to, get stoned whilst they're waiting, basically.
It's happening, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
going to be awesome next week, that.
big main event, big storyline development, and quite an interesting possibility of the NXT tag belts going to TNA. That would be one of the more, going in that direction anyway, one of the more interesting developments thus far in this working relationship.
And the Hardys could win them.
Ugh. I've had to suffer enough. It's your turn.
Wait a minute, where the hell are we? It's the NXT.
This is the NXT dimension.
Then you could meet up with Stax and get a bit of stand-up advice.
It was the dimension for punks. Remember that?
Yeah.
Loser. What an absolute loser.
Keep it triangular.
How's that Randy Orton from Motorhead? Lemmy's cool. He's another loser.
Triple H is out of the studio. Oh, God, don't tell me.
Time for the Joe Hendry concert. He's in the ring. Fans are singing his theme song. He says, say his name and he appears. Welcomes us to the first ever Joe Hendry concert in WWE. His concerts are acclaimed around the world. He's going to create something special. He's got a song that everyone loves. Well, almost everyone. He sings the Joe Hendry Makes Things Better song. How he makes it better for everyone in NXT. How there's a wrestler here now from Scotland repping TNA, and how Chef Sean's in the kitchen summoning him up. Calls Booker T his biggest fan, and there's a photoshopped image of him in a kilt. Says Joe Coffey's the son of Dutch Mantel. Gets the fans to wave their hands if they hate Gallus, and talks about them getting deported for having awful facial hair. Their fans are clapping along, loving it, singing along. There's a "We Believe" chant. And Joe's like, well, party mood tonight. I'll tell you what, how about an encore? Everyone gets very excited because we're going to get the proper Joe Hendry song. He says the people have spoken, but before he can get into it, he's interrupted by Gallus. Joe Coffey, this is, says there will be no encore. Calls Hendry a flash in the pan, a one-hit wonder, an internet meme, and a one-trick pony. If he hears that song one more time, someone's getting decked. And Joe says, you want some, come get some. And they surround him, but he fights anyway, but the numbers game catches up to him. They beat him down, and then Wolfgang and Mark hold him in place whilst Joe Coffey smashes the guitar off Hendry's back, and they stand over him and pose. They ruined the Joe Hendry concert.
Did they? Or was this just creatively pretty weak? I thought they got over. I thought it was boring, and I thought it was it wasn't a best foot forward night for Joe Hendry or a best presentation of a Joe Hendry. I don't think it's. I know Joe Hendry's always walked that line between, a tightrope, I guess, between his parody songs and those WWE Photoshop gags. But I've never seen him fall off the tightrope, and he did here on night one for the gimmick as a musical act. It just didn't work for me at all. I thought they should have allowed him to be more biting, and I can understand from Joe Hendry's point of view. This is quite a delicate and difficult game to play right now. He is a TNA wrestler. He most certainly, presumably, wants to be within WWE eventually. A perfect place for him. Mm-hmm. I just don't think this was the best reflection of what he offers in this side of his character. It's a match next week. He continues to get booked. The Gallus thing is something they've put time and investment to. But I was pretty disappointed by this.
Yeah, my expectations weren't met. I had high ones. I think it's been like a smash hit, really, in NXT so far. I don't know what it was, because that song's... it was over in the building.
Yeah.
The fans were very much willing to go along with them. But it was kind of like the material wasn't... The good thing about Joe Hendry is that what's lost is that the original character was meant to be an absolutely gigantic bell end. But it's just really entertaining.
Yeah.
So it's one of those default babyface runs that doesn't make that much sense for them to be that arrogant. I don't know, if he was a heel, biting is the word, he should have been maybe a little bit more banned for having bad facial hair was a bit. I don't think the material was that great, but then I'm not being funny. You're working with Gallus, what can you...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're going to parody a subject, there has to be a subject. And they're nothing, are they?
Just outright say, the worst wrestlers on this show is no good for anybody, is it? And
That's the thing.
And then who are you beating? And
that's the thing. Even Steve Austin couldn't really do their material of Alan Stormy already boring.
Yeah.
Like, it's very few people can do that. But like, that's the thing about Gallus, and maybe, politically, like, if you recall, right, August 99, who gets an absolute crap load of heat in the office by going, for speaking the truth. Chris Jericho says, Undertaker, you boring bitch. You're putting everyone to sleep with your stupid 4-minute promos and your pathetic hard man act and your complete lack of charisma and all the rest of it. Bad idea. He gets, the thing, he's the cock of the walk, almost gets completely Terry Tailored, and then, it takes him a while to get back into it.
And ironically, when he does get over properly, he's doing Photoshop gags as part of his promos, and he knows to play the game by then.
And if you're, Joe Hendry, maybe just getting told what to do, to be honest. But if you're Joe Hendry, you're probably thinking, I can't go that route. Look what's happened before. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I'm not trying to make excuses. I just thought, look, the crowd was with him. I thought his promo was good. He's got that star presence. Yeah. He's got that confidence. It does still feel like a star package. I just thought the material was weak. I thought he couldn't do much with the subject. I had one more point to make. Yeah, we were talking about this on the preview yesterday. I knew they wouldn't give him a licensed song. It's like a real bit of help, Yeah. Like debuting. Like the first time you hear a song, he might be a grower, and he's trying to get them to sing along to a song they've never heard with new lyrics to it.
Yes.
I think that was too much of a tall ask. If it was like his idea for the original concert that he did on TNA, it has to be something that wrestling fans know. That's why he went with, like, he was talking about other options were like, I can't remember, but he settled on Creed.
Yes.
Like people have heard that for years growing up through video packages and their own memories and all the rest of it. They're cheap bastards. They could have given a licensed song with an association with wrestling.
I wonder if I hope it's going to happen next week. Either you pitch.
What was Fuel? Leave the Memories Alone.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Because you pitched Sexy Boy, didn't you, yesterday as a
Gallus Boys.
Yeah.
You sell no merchandise.
I still also really liked That's Not Entertainment when I was listening back.
Not entertainment.
It's very good. But I'm hoping that the
American Gallus, stay
away from me.
American
Gallus, while you're on TV. I don't get it. Never have, never will.
That they've done a 2-week thing.
Your skill is on the floor. Nobody wants you through the forbidden door. Not Gallus, stay away from me.
I'm hoping they're doing like a 2-week thing. So this week it was like, Gallus said they hated him, but he's never had any reason to go after them. So he's just like, I was just going to do a couple of songs, send the fans home happy sort of thing. Now Gallus has interrupted and attacked him. Now he's pissed off. So now he's going to, I hope the story is he's going to write a song about Joe Coffey or Gallus for next week. So they can, because then you can get the best of both worlds. You get the video like he used to, like he's done on all the indies and stuff that we've seen. And then say his name and then he comes out to a big reaction.
I will say, I did like, because obviously he had to have a real guitar, and I'm assuming they gimmick the back of it a little bit, but I did like him getting waffled with the shoot guitar as opposed to the Jeff round the head one, the old honky tonk man, because it just makes this real sickening thud, and they're looking for that back bit to fall out, but the rest remains completely intact. A guitar shot.
Then we have more from Hank and Tank. They chat to Roxanne Perez ahead of her match and suggest that she tries to break the Guinness World Record by putting Post-its on her face. I think Hank tries. No, Tank tries, sorry, after Roxy says, no, I've got a world title defense. Roxy's pissed off, snaps at him. Jada Parker walks past and basically says, you might not have that title by the end of tonight. All it made me think of was, how's your world record attempt coming along?
I need to have another go. 1 minute and 1 second was the last time.
What's this again, if people are unaware?
3 Jacob's cream crackers over there. Saltines in America?
I think so, yeah.
In under a minute with nothing to drink because they are bone dry.
Bring some into the office.
I like the food that way. So.
Bring some into the office.
Yeah, I think it can be done.
Joke's on you, I've been training for this for 20 years.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see what I can do.
I think as a man of actual food taste, you would really struggle. Like,
I can get down in the gutter.
Yeah. In the muck. That could be our office Olympics.
Had a big doner kebab.
Do you have any sauce with it?
Chili.
That's where you've gone wrong. Would you have it dry?
Driest.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, me too, actually.
I mean, I prefer it with chili sauce.
Kebabs are good, aren't they?
I love them so much, man.
Not a kebab in ages.
Great.
Interacting with a very nice person on Twitter yesterday whose screen name was Kebab Jones. All I could hear is Taz.
Yeah.
Even if like his surname is Jones, that's his nickname with his mates. It's Taz.
Kebab Jones over
Kebab
here.
Jones over here.
We go to Ava's office. She hasn't got a surname. She's the Rockstar and general manager of NXT. And she's doing the contract signing with Ethan Page and Aura Mensah. They're arguing. She tells them to shut up. Ethan says Aura doesn't deserve a title shot. This is a gift to him. And Aura reminds Page about attacking Noam and talks about pinning him. Page is pissed off again, of course. He says, nothing you've done matters. You won't beat me. Aura tells Page to sign the contract, and he does. He says, Page may be the champion, but Aura has no respect for anything he does. Page doesn't respect him, but when he beats him, the title will fit perfectly around the main man's waist, and he signs the contract and walks off. Looking forward to this next week.
Yeah, me too. It's just a test of Aura Mensah, isn't it? Like, what have they really got here? He's not going to win the match. The 1, 2, 3 thing's a little bit over, but it's only for this story. Can they make a believer out of you for a few seconds? I don't know. But it's not bad, this. Like, it's an easy win for Ethan Page.
It's not great, though, either.
It's not great, no. This is just a good American bash. There's other stuff next week that's great, but it won't be this.
Then it was Jada Parker versus Kendall Gray. Kendall Gray, you may remember when Carly Bright, who was in her corner this time,
Just on a level up.
suplexed Miles Bourne last week. And, well, copy-paste here. Parker did an inverted vertical suplex at one point. But sold for Gray when she made a comeback. She was running wild, and out came Miles Bourne and Ren Sinclair. Bourne argues with Carly Bright, who's there at ringside. So Kendall comes out and just chucks Miles Bourne again. He sells it brilliantly. Yeah. She gets back in and hits an Olympic slam, gets a 2 count. But in the end, gets caught charging in the corner, hit with a teardrop, front suplex drop, and that running hip smash from Jada Parker gets the 1, 2, 3.
The Miles Bourne stuff, you just want to watch it each week, don't you? He takes that great bump. Of all the things that Shawn Michaels has donated from his career to his own show, the teardrop suplex must be the most boring. Remember when that was his finisher?
Yeah.
When he first left the Rockets.
Patterson who told him,
stop that. Enough of that, Sean. The only notable moment really was the Miles Bourne thing, but it's a good bit.
Yeah.
Quite enjoying that.
Ridge and Thea are backstage. Ridge says what Thea said last week meant a lot to him.
Because you're like your daughter to me. I don't want to you, I promise.
it's platonic.
Do whatever it takes, basically. Chase you walk in and go, what do you mean by do whatever it takes? But Thea's all fired up, all leading to the main event.
We're trying to corrupt you.
Or am I?
Or am I? If you go to the dark side, you can have some dark thoughts, I have some dark thoughts. Can't let myself say him. But, we all have them. We all have our voices, you see. Mine just happened to be she being daughter.
A lot of wrestlers talk about that place. I'm the one that actually is going.
Nathan Frazier.
When I'm cleaning windows.
Walking backstage, goes up to his fellow tag champion, Axiom. No! He's chatting with Whacking Wild and Cruz del Toro. When up walks, it's the 2 assistants to Amy. She hasn't got the same. She's the Rock Daughter General Manager of NXT. It's Stevie, and then there's another guy who had the contract, and his name completely escapes me.
It's Robert Stone.
There's a contract offer for the tag title match with the Rascals. Nathan Fraser says, we'll think about it, but Axiom, no hesitation, signs it. Fraser's like, can I have a quick chat with you? He's like, what are you doing? You're rushing into all this. He's like, don't worry about it, we'll be fine.
You should know about that.
I was going to say it's a bit rich, isn't it, from Nathan Fraser?
And he says, you need to get more locked in. He said, I will be after my speed match. Uh-oh.
Who's zooming who?
I'll give it.
I love it.
Me too.
No, it's good because it makes you think, those titles going to TNA.
I think it's a big main event to set up for next week with all of this.
It's not the main event, though.
I reckon it is. They're not going to put friggin' Ethan Page and Aura Mensah on last.
Well, it depends if there's a return, I suppose.
I guess, yeah. But they don't even know I'm down. They're not going to put Ethan Page and Orr Menser on last. This is a bigger match with bigger stakes. And
I agree, especially if there's a
NXT
turn.
titles are bigger stakes in their mind.
Yes. I don't
Pasti
know.
bet, maybe?
I've just lost
Hang on, wait a
another
second,
one
I've got a
now.
button for this.
It's just lost one.
You're joking. Not another one?
Just bought a boat.
Then it was time for the sixth woman. It was Carmen Petrovich, Lola Vice, and Sol Ruka versus Fallon Henley, Jasmine Nix, and Jessie Jane. Early on,
Only one mask in the match graphics now. There's a changing around.
that's because they don't want people knowing what's coming.
Yeah.
Early on, Fallon and Sol get into it. Fallon rides like a surfboard, but Sol comes back, hits an X Factor, and returns the favor.
Is it law? The law in professional wrestling, whenever there's 6 wrestlers in the ring in a trios match, that there has to be some kind of subvert the taunt and then go, now I'm going to do the real taunt. It happens in every House of Black match ever. They all do like the Malachi Black
Sit
thing.
down,
Yeah. And now look, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Stealing AEW's homework, is it?
Greatness echoes greatness.
I still think it's great. So you agree?
I like a bit of AEW. Yeah. Looking forward to All In and all the events around it. All breaks down. Lola puts Fallon on the apron and kicks her to the floor. Carmen dives onto Jessie Jane and Sol hits a moonsault onto all of them to take us to a break. When we come back, hot tag to Lola Vice, who looks great, comes in with loads of kicks and strikes. Sol Ruka does a buckshot lariat, basically. They're all in different corners of the heels. There's triple hip attacks. Jasmine and Jessie get put on the apron and super kicks.
I think you meant nearly, not basically, but carry on.
Sol hit a powerbomb to Fallon Henley to get a 2 count. Sol ate a cutter off the top rope from Fallon, though. Fisherman suplex, but Carmen and Lola make the save. They tackle Jessie and Jasmine into the pile to break up the pin. Jessie and Fallon put Lola on the outside. Jessie dives onto her with a senton. Jasmine and Sol are trading kicks in the ring. Carmen tags in, takes out Jasmine. Bulldog off the ropes gets 2, goes for a suplex, but Nix blocks it, hits the Pele kick. Jessie hits a big forearm. Fallon hits the cutter, and the heels get the 1, 2, 3.
Like a better work rate version of the tag. In that, yet again, it was a lot of moves that aren't necessarily related to the type of character they play, especially on the heel side of things. But I like a lot of the characters here. I would really wish, my criticism here is that I really wish they were wrestling with a little bit more identity. I think Fallon Henley has made a conscious effort to try and work a bit more like a heel. But I'm not really seeing that out of Jessie Jane and Jasmine Nix. But I do like that act. I like the act of heels. I don't think I'm just being worked by the Soul Snatcher. I think Sol Ruka's got something, proper something.
That Kalani Jordan match was great.
I know that wasn't for everybody, like just all the gymnastics exhibition stuff, because it didn't look like they were wrestling half the time, did it? It wasn't about trying to actually lay anything in or hit an offensive move. But I had this to me felt like, especially because you had the women's title as the main event of this show, and Kalani Jordan is about to fight and presumably retain. They've got 2 strong champions built up, and this felt like an exhibition of the division. And here's your upper mid card proper wrestlers, and it was pretty good.
Julia to come, Stephanie Vaquer.
It was pretty strong in that respect, and the characters I do really like the majority of these characters and find them quite easy to invest in. My cup of tea. The work was fine, just lacked identity. So it was good wrestling, capital G, capital W at its best. But a lot of them don't need to be doing as
Not
much
at its best.
Sorry, no, yeah. The match at its best was an example of some good wrestling, but I don't need to see half of it. I don't need to see half of these people. I'd rather them wrestle like their characters would, rather than just thinking I need to impress.
Yeah. I know, this was, I'm trying not to be a patronising dickhead. This took a lot longer for me to go, that move sucked. When it's quite complicated, when there's so few cage match pages between everyone involved. So they did quite it's so boring, it's not in fitting with the tone of this podcast. But I thought they did a complicated match with a lot of moving parts, really quite well. On Sol Ruka.
You're not saying it.
Well, I do get it, but fundamentally, it's that softly WWE thing I was talking about with Dominic Mysterio's rubbish dropkick as an egregious example in an otherwise very dramatic main event. So is it the thing where she does the buckshot but onto 2 people?
I think so, yeah.
And she just, hey! Just gets her arms kind of and like then she fires up afterwards. It's like they just bummed on their own and he didn't touch them.
It's that curse of the
What, being a bit soft.
the NXT thing of, I've done the flip or I've done the flare bit. My work here is done long before they've got to the move or the bit that's supposed to actually matter.
Yeah.
And I think that's a PC problem going right the way back. That's 10 years strong at this point. But I don't know. Sol Ruka's, I think, the one from this lot. But like Jasmine Nix was pretty good here as well. And I've never, they cast her as the sort of the rookie in the veterans group. And I think she's...
I really like Fallon Henley. I think she's...
Me too.
Yeah.
I think she's clicking properly
good.
now. Funny, she should help somebody else get on the street.
Well, exactly. She just needs love. Tatum Paxley ambushes Kalani Jordan and wants to play, but Kalani doesn't want to. Tatum suggests playing with her title, and Kalani says, I don't play with my title. Tatum says, neither do I, and she leaves. And Wendy Chu's being creepy in the background.
What was this, man?
That stinks.
It's great. It's a little dollhouse.
I don't play with toys. All right, I'll see you later then. Yeah, I do. What was this?
Great, creepy stuff.
Were you scared? Did it give you the creeps?
A little bit. That dollhouse. Ooh.
Honestly, you debase yourself all the time, you.
And if you want to see that live, what could you not tickets? Joe Hendry's leaving. He's asked about his concert being wrecked. He says there's a milestone in his career and Gallus bloody ruined it. They're driven by jealousy and led by Joe Coffey. He's driven by proving he belongs here. So let's have a match next week.
Good fire from Joe Hendry.
Yeah.
Main event time. Roxanne Perez versus Thea Hale, NXT Women's title on the line. Chase U out there, of course, for Thea. Ridge Holland in particular. Some great positioning or shots, I suppose, of Ridge during this. Thea offers a handshake. Roxy kicks it away.
I'm a badass.
Thea hit half and half.
I don't respect you.
Thea hit a half and half suplex. Roxy went to the outside. Thea hit a moonsault to take us to break. When we come back, Roxy blocks a kick and knocks Thea down and yells she's just a little girl.
I mean, they both look like they're 12.
You both remind me of my daughter.
I know, Rich.
I think you're protesting too much here, mate.
You were my daughter.
Thea fires up off this. She's pissed off. She kicks Roxy, comes off the ropes, flipping neck breaker, world's smallest slam, senton and a coffin drop. But Roxy, the coffin drop missed, and Roxy rolled her up for 2, then puts her in a crossface. But Thea rolls over and gets a rope break, gets out of the ring. Roxy dives through the ropes onto her, chucks her back in, and then waste of time, jaw jacking with Chase U, and Thea dives through the ropes onto her. Rolls Roxy in, high crossbody, Michinoku driver, great 2 count there. Thea grabs her again, but Roxy blocks the suplex and snaps her arm, goes for pop rocks. Thea counters into a roll-up, then a Kimura. Roxy rolls through into a crossface, and Ridge, this is a particular moment where he's looking like, I was thinking, is he going to put her foot on the ropes, or is he going to drag her out of the ring here? But he doesn't need to. Thea powers to her feet, rolling Samoan drop, coffin drop, and a cover, gets a near fall. Hale all over it, starts dragging Perez back to the middle of the ring. Perez grabs the ring skirt, and that gets pulled into the ring. And whilst the referee distracts himself, kicking that out there, Perez pokes Thea Hale in the eye. There's a Saito suplex by Perez and a splash. But as Perez charges towards her in the corner, Thea Hale dodges it. Perez posts herself. Hale gets her in the Kimura. But Perez rolls out of the ring because they're still doing it, out to the floor, and smashes Thea into the ring steps. They get back in. Perez goes back to the crossface. Hale counters into another great near fall. Another Kimura from Thea Hale, but Perez escapes, puts her in a crossface. Hale's reaching for the ropes, and Roxanne does that bit where she kicks off and rolls them into the center of the ring. And then Perez transitioned. Pop rocks. 1, 2, 3. Thea Hale just falls short.
I loved this so much. I think they've showed a remarkable patience with Thea Hale when she's brilliant at this losing challenger thing. So it's been a full year that they've resisted putting the title on her and paying off the fact that she came so close last time but fell short. That obviously got folded into the Chase U drama instead. That, we were led to believe is all behind her now and there's nothing's going to cause the problem. But then you've got the Ridge stuff, which I didn't think for NXT was too heavy-handed. I thought it was the right amount of drama to tease it, because there is this soapy element of it with Ridge and Chase U, and I thought they got that just right without ruining the vibe of the match. That it never compromised the competitive element of this, and they actually deployed it more in the first half of the match before you were really getting asked to buy into the exchange of holds and the brilliant near falls. And it's really, and I don't think it was just because me and Sish had a pasty on it. I think I was just, I was financially invested in this, but I was more emotionally invested in it. I really, really wanted Thea to win.
Yeah.
And the more Ridge Holland didn't cheat, the more they had me rooting for her, because it was like, oh, they are going to hold back and she is going to get it done. And that's going to be Ridge sort of vindicated within Chase U and all that kind of stuff. And then, sort of almost acting in the background until when it really counted, Roxanne Perez is the best wrestler becomes the story. It doesn't matter if you don't think that becomes the story. They back away from the Chase U stuff at just the right time. Then it becomes about what's Thea got left? We're in the clinch now. What can she do? And she just can't quite do enough. So it really put over Roxanne Perez, who for a while was almost like the passenger of what you were supposed to be watching. A terrific little sports entertainment spectacle that turned into a very good match that was strong developmental for Thea and more confirmation of what we already know about Roxanne Perez. I triumphed for this. Loved it.
Right. I will say that they did the most important things very well, right, in terms of the layout, the drama, the emotion that they built. There's a lot of suspense and tension in those last sort of 3 minutes, particularly. And Thea Hale, right, I don't know if it'll ever, it's the way WWE just does these things. Maybe she could be Do or Die, Bloodsport, her cameo, to maybe just learn how to just, come on, lay it in a bit. Think about how the moves you are doing are meant to actually hurt your opponent, and just speak Bret Hart, basically. Just make it look really good and effective and painful or whatever. So she does the fire up. Again, the last 3 minutes were really, really, really shockingly suspenseful and really well done. But she does a fire up. There's a couple of moves. The one that actually sticks out when everything else evaporates on this godforsaken television program. She does a senton. She doesn't. She just kind of motions to do a roll and then just gently rolls over Roxanne Perez's belly. It just doesn't look like it hurts. It can be a pretty ridiculous move to do to someone in the way that wrestling is. That's fine. Just make it look like it would hurt. Doesn't matter how elaborate the setup is. Doesn't matter how completely unnecessary it is to do these fundamentally silly wrestling things. If they actually look like they hurt, because I'm wired to enjoy wrestling, I'll think, right, okay.
Is it if The Rock didn't put any snap on the people's elbow? When he drops, he is actually hitting the elbow.
That's
the theatrics are nonsense.
Because he can work, eh?
Yeah.
All wrestling theatrics are nonsense. I just need to see some collision detection. I want to see some impact and she did that senton. And I'm not picking on one move because there was a few where it looked just piss weak in the sort of the middle act of this match. She does that bump when Charlotte Flair doesn't want to do a bump on telly. She'll go hard as hell at WrestleMania, but then she'll do these rolling lucha bumps.
Yeah. She gambles.
But it's meant to be a back body drop.
Gambles, yeah.
Aye. So room for it, but that's a good NXT match, this.
I loved it, I thought it was a brilliant end to the show. Feel like they've laid out a couple of...
trick earlier.
What's this?
When the trios, the 6-woman tag was happening, I was expecting you to say it's going to be the best trios match you'll see all week.
I'm never going to disrespect the people in that trios match.
The Beast, Mortos.
Buzzing for that tonight.
Doing some research for a list, and there's a Scott Steiner promo, and it was the Wolf Pack doing the monster voice of NWO. It's yeah. Why do I love that so much? It gets me Ellering. NWO. Yeah. Could have got that any deeper.
If he ever signed for the Fed, Def Rebel would just lift your best Beast Mortos and it'd be the start of his team, wouldn't it? Beast Mortos.
Beast Mortos. Ding, 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 ding. Watch out.
But yeah, really enjoyed this. Like you say, bought on all the near falls and the submissions and what have you. And it feels like
all the moves.
Both of these people are going to go in exciting directions next. I think they laid it on a little bit at the end. It was like, wow, Roxanne Perez wins again. She's the best. She's beating everybody.
It's like 3 challenges later.
I feel like, yeah, they're going to have a thing maybe next week where she comes out like, and they got a big title match tonight for the men's world champion, women's world champion. Got all that business sorted last week, and to be honest, there's kind of no one left, and that's where you bring in, whether it be a Julia or a Stephanie Vaquette. I think it's probably going to be Cora Jade, to be perfectly honest.
When's the next? Is it?
I'm glad you asked. It's NXT No Mercy at the beginning of September.
Oh, so not that long.
No, like it's literally the first, I think it is. Right. So I think that's where they're going to set that up, and I think Thea Hale may get another title shot for the North American title, where maybe Ridge Holland finally says, no, do whatever it takes.
Yeah. That's
Kalani Jordan's a very sympathetic babyface to be like, that's a bit out of order to come, like, really hurt her arm before a Kimura or whatever it may be.
Yet again doing a Thea Hale heel turn where her career becomes more successful as a result.
And often the wins are clean. Often the wins are clean.
And then maybe, you know, her and Riley Osborne, those two crazy kids, can get it together.
Jesus Christ.
But
Just watch something else.
Get off her! What's your problem, Rich? No, then.
You're not good enough.
what are your intentions?
Are they as dark as mine?
But that's it. That is the Great American Bash, unfortunately, done for another year. Huh?
You're not going to believe this, Wilbon.
What?
They're kind of innovators on NXT.
Shut up, man.
It's not a one-night peely.
What?
You get a second bite of the bash.
It's like WrestleMania, basically.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's never been done before as a TV special. Week 1 and week 2.
Amazing. Let us know your thoughts on week 1 of American Bash.
And God bless the United States.
In the comment section below, like, share, subscribe.
Tit.
Subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Dynamite Preview is available right now. And follow us all on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. Actually, they can follow all 3 of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Michael Sidgwick at
Flanderises podcast at M. Sidgwick.
Follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. Follow our brilliant producer at It's Adam Nicholas. And as I said, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling for daily wrestling podcasts.
Raw's on Sci-Fi next week, by the way.
Look like you somehow look like a more obnoxious Buff Bagwell.
Might wear this to All In for the American Championship match.
Yes.
I'm sure the guy behind you
Can't see.
will think you're a tosser. Then even worse than the hat.
My thanks to Hamlet, Sidgwick, and Stacks. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.